So our cost of living videos have become one of our most popular videos. Now we enjoy doing them because it keeps us on track, but we've gotten away from that a little bit because we were moving so fast. But we have put something together, our last 27 days through Central Europe. How much did that cost?
Right. So we started our travels in Poland and moved to Czech Republic. We spent some time in Germany and then found our way to Italy, where we are only including Milan, Italy into this part. We are actually still currently in Italy, and we'll have a whole separate video covering the time that we have been here.
Those will be good.
Yes. So now we are going to cover in this video, we're going to kind of go over what the categories we are going to cover. Typically in our cost of living videos, we add certain things like other monthly costs, our reoccurring expenses.
Insurance, stuff like that.
We're not putting that in this video because this is a little bit more a style of video. If you were going to go and travel this area yourself, even on just a trip, what might that look to cost you?
Correct.
So the areas we are going to cover today are going to be your accommodations, what we spent, our transportation costs, moving in between all of these locations that we were at.
Our groceries,
our entertainment costs, which is our eating out and drinking out. Anything miscellaneous that included getting into any sites that we wanted to see and stuff like that. And then we will also let you know what we spent on a phone data plan for the time that we were there.
Right, which is a little bit tricky because you might have your own data plan from back home. We don't, and we don't believe that we overspend on that at all. That's somewhere where we can cut costs.
Right, yeah. And that would be an easy one for you to subtract off if you already have your own phone data plan.
Correct. We started in Poland. We went to KRAKOW. We were in KRAKOW for 4 nights, and the reason we were there for 4 nights was simply because we had to get adjusted to the European time zone. Yeah. We were just coming off a cruise with family, so we just felt like an extra day or two might be worth our while. There's also some of the excursions you might want to go on outside of KRAKOW, like Auschwitz, like we went to. So things like that, we decided 4 nights would be adequate.
Right. Now, KRAKOW, I loved KRAKOW. Honestly, getting there, we just got back into Europe. We haven't been in Europe for a while. Love that town. Highly recommend it. The place we stayed, so our accommodations, this was the only place where we chose to be in an Airbnb, and there was a few reasons to that. Like we said, we were just coming off of a cruise. We knew that we were going to need to wash some clothes, and then just also because we were going to be there a little bit longer, we thought we might want a place that was maybe a little more comfortable.
Yeah, with the kitchen preferably. So 4 nights in KRAKOW, our accommodations came to $247. We also got some groceries while we were there, and that would cost us a grand total of $42.
Normally on our cost of living videos, our groceries well exceed our entertainment budget because we do like to cook in. This stretch of time was absolutely the opposite. So our entertainment budget here was way higher in the end than what we normally would spend. So this is our eating out, like we said, and our drinking out. And our cost for entertainment in KRAKOW was $62. Now the other cost that we had was our transportation, and in KRAKOW our transportation was pretty minimal. We took an Uber to and from the bus station, or from the airport and then to the bus station, and that was $14.
Now if you do decide to go to KRAKOW, you might want to go out to Auschwitz. It's something that we did. We suggest you do too. It's a surreal experience, but it's worth doing. I would definitely recommend going.
Yeah.
And that cost us a total of, what was it, $40?
$29.
$29.
Yeah. And once again, these prices are for both of us, the cost. So yeah, it was $29. We took a kind of a tour, and the main reason we did it was because it offered us the ability to get out there, gave the transportation and stuff. There are other ways you can do it. We found this just to be an easy way to do it.
This one was self-guided, which we prefer.
Now, right after getting into KRAKOW, one of the first stops we made was we went to go get new SIM cards for our phone so that we had cell phone coverage. We were happy to find out that the SIM cards were only $12 each. And so that was really great. And they worked for us through our entire time, the whole 27 days.
Right.
So we did not need to re-up that.
No, that went from country to country it followed us.
Yes.
Through the countries. So that was a nice surprise.
Big bonus.
Yes. So our total cost in KRAKOW for 4 nights was $418. So just over $100 a day, which included everything. And honestly, I think that's worth it. I think that was a pretty good deal.
We loved our time there. You know, like we said, we stayed 4 nights. one of the things that we are going to do in here is kind of tell you, did we feel that was enough time? Would we have changed the amount of time that we were there? We honestly could have done it in 3 nights, and that included doing the day trip. But it is such a cute town that you're not going to be sad if you do have the 4 nights there.
Yeah, you won't get bored. Another thing I'd like to point out as we're doing this cost of living video, we're dealing with different currencies in almost every country we've been to. So this is all going to be in USD. We always get that question. And why are you doing it in USD? Well, because everybody understands USD, first of all, and we can't break it down between euros and czechs and whatever else that we had to deal with.
Now our next stop in Poland was Wrocław, not very far away from being in Krakow. Took the bus. We spent 3 nights in Wrocław.
Yes.
And we chose to make that a shorter time, kind of intentionally.
Well, we did that intentionally, right? We got a hotel right in the middle of the square, so it was very convenient. And we just decided to do that, pay the extra to do that, and only stay 3 nights.
Right. And so for that hotel, we paid $302. It was absolutely centrally located, perfect location. One thing we would say is when you are going to these places and you are only going to be there for a couple days, go ahead and try and stay in the city center. The way we travel when we are fast traveling versus slow traveling is that city center is truly important because you have a lot less time to kind of go do all the sightseeing that you want to do. Now, if you are going to be or slow traveling like we typically do, you can stay a little bit further out.
Now, on that point of fast travel versus slow travel, we did that video last week, so if you missed that one, check it out. Now, groceries in WROCLAW, I always pronounce it wrong, my apologies, only came to $14.
Yeah, like we said, we weren't eating in much. In a hotel room, it's a little bit hard to do that.
So again, because we spent so little on groceries, our entertainment was a little higher than it normally would be. And on that, in 3 days, we spent $80.
Now, our transportation in Wrocław was quite a bit higher. This includes our bus getting from Krakow. We also visited a winery when we were in Wrocław. We took an Uber out there. It was somebody that was actually from our hometown that has a winery there. So that was really fun to do. Yeah. So we spent a total of $98, which is more than we would definitely spend on 3 days in transportation. But that's one of the things. When you're moving around as much as we're moving around, those transportation costs are way higher than we normally have.
Right. And I'd like to point out too, going out to the winery and back did cost us a little bit of Uber money, but we got 2 free bottles of wine for that too. So
there you go.
Maybe we paid off a little bit, balanced it out a little bit.
So for our 3 nights staying in a hotel in Wrocław, we spent $493, which is a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't regret it, but it's a lot more than we tend to spend.
Now, we did spend 3 nights, so how long would you think that we would need there?
I would think that you could get away with doing 2 nights.
Yeah.
Maybe, if you get there early, 1 day, maybe 2 full days, 1 night. It's a cute town. We're glad we went.
It's cute, but there's not a lot there.
There's not a lot there.
Although we did find when we first walked through the town, we thought, oh my gosh, there really isn't a lot there. It kind of spans out and stuff, and we ended up finding a cute little kind of, fair that was going on that had all these vendors, food vendors, and we
I forgot about that.
Yeah, got a little nice little spot in the garden area and got some beers, and so it ended up being more than we thought it was going to be, but we don't feel that you don't need 3 nights there.
No. From there, we moved on to BRNO, Czech Republic, and we were there for 4 nights. We loved it. We had a great time. It gave us a little time to stop and regroup.
It did. BRNO was a quieter town. We didn't really expect that, but honestly, it was welcomed because it was just really, really, laid back, chill, and relaxing.
Right.
Our hotel that we stayed at, we absolutely loved. It was so centrally located, right in the heart of town. And one of the things that was so cool is that you went out the back door of the hotel and you were right in the heart of BRNO.
Right.
If you went out the front of the hotel, you just walked up the hill and that's where the castle was.
That's where the castle was
Which
at.
is what we had a view of from our hotel room. Yeah.
It also had free breakfast.
The most amazing continental
breakfast. It was
breakfast.
the most amazing breakfast we've ever experienced. Now, I say free breakfast, you pay for it up front with the price of the room, so I always feel like, well, I'm going to get my money's worth. I'm just going to eat
We ate
as
too
much as I
much.
can.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah. We have learned that we love the continental breakfast, but both of us try to take full advantage of them, and we leave feeling like we've gorged ourselves.
They had omelets, they had
and we're not big.
pancakes.
Our normal breakfast is yogurt.
Yeah,
so
maybe a couple eggs.
yeah, so it's but it's always kind of fun to have, especially when you do travel all the time to have that, and we don't eat out that much, so it is nice.
But we did pay for it.
Yeah, we did pay for it in the end. Yeah.
So 4 nights for that hotel in Brno was $429.
Yeah. So kind of seeing a theme there is we're averaging around $100 a night, a little bit over $100 a night. Yeah, well above what we normally spend. Now, because of the continental breakfast, because usually our groceries, when we're talking about groceries through this cost of living, is because even though we're in a hotel room, we usually get a hotel room that has a mini fridge. And in that mini fridge, we would then go and get yogurt, and that would be our breakfast in the morning. So in Brno, we only spent $10 on groceries because we didn't have to go. So that was probably some of your beers.
That was maybe some of my beers. We didn't buy lunch because we gorged ourselves in the morning, so we didn't eat until dinner time.
Right. So so our grocery cost was very minimal in Brno, but for entertainment, we spent $123. We actually, in Brno, that's the place that we found that restaurant that we really liked. We loved the food in Czech
Yeah, we
Republic.
loved the food, and that cost that we spent on entertainment, I wouldn't take that back. That food was fantastic.
So good.
I know I say fantastic a lot. I'm going to keep saying it because that food was fantastic. It was really good.
Yeah,
well worth it.
That was good. Yeah, we repeat visited the same restaurant over and over.
I think we went 3 times in 4 days.
In 4 days.
And we didn't know about it the first day, so that's why we only went 3 times. So transportation costs while we were there, getting there from Wrocław, and we went to Vienna on a day trip. So the bus rides for those two bus rides cost us $110.
Yeah, I think we took a train to Vienna.
Right.
Yeah. Now, Vienna, highly recommend that. Now, our costs for the day that we were in Vienna are actually included into our costs for Brno because that's when we went. So we did stop there and get beer and things like that. But highly recommend Vienna as well as a day trip. If you're anywhere in that area, honestly, not even a day trip, but we'll talk on that maybe a little bit later.
About that later.
Yeah.
Beautiful city.
It's a beautiful city.
So 4 nights in Brno, which includes heading to Vienna, all of our expenses, everything included, was quite high. Yeah, it was quite high. It came to $672.
Yeah. Now, if you guys know us, you know we're budget travelers, so this kind of hurts a little bit
to
go through some of the numbers.
Yeah.
We knew what we were spending at the time. It's not like it was a surprise after the fact.
We knew what we were getting into.
Yeah, we also did what we did by traveling in Southeast Asia and saving some money in those areas so that then we can do these fun things like this. So we spent a total of 4 days in Brno. Would we stay 4 days again? I don't think 4 days is totally necessary. I would say 3 nights, not 4 nights, and do a day trip from there. If you're not doing a day trip, you could get away with 2 nights there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You don't need to spend any more than 2 days. Honestly, you could probably even stay in Vienna and take a day trip to Brno.
Right. Good idea. Yeah. Honestly, that is one of the things that we would say is that a day trip to Vienna. Check that video out as well. You will see in that video a day does not do it justice whatsoever.
Not even close.
We kind of came to the conclusion we would like to spend at least 3 nights in Vienna. For kind of one key reason. There was so much to see that we didn't see, but also they have so much about Vienna is their nighttime, what goes on, the shows and the music and everything. And you have to be there in the evening to do that. So
now the reason we didn't do that is because Vienna was so expensive to stay there for 3 nights or even 1 night. Yeah. So that's why we did it the way we did it.
Right. So now our next stop was Prague.
Yes.
we had planned a trip to Prague, over a year and a half ago, had to cancel that due to other circumstances. We were so happy to get there and be able to see this area that came so highly recommended to us.
Yeah, everybody told us we have to go to Prague. So our expectations were really high. And honestly, I think that we weren't disappointed. It fulfilled all of our expectations. It was great.
It's a beautiful place, a lot to see and do. Now, one thing to note is that during this whole time that we were traveling through this area for the 27 days, this was in the heat of the summer and also the heat of tourist season. So Prague was where we experienced the majority of that. It was busy.
All the tourists that we didn't see in Krakow or BRNO or WROCLAW, however you pronounce it, they were all in Prague.
They were there.
4 nights in Prague. Now I'd say that's about what you would need.
Yeah.
I would say we got a lot done. We saw just about everything. Sure, there's other things we could have done. We could have gone up to Pilsen, where there's a fantastic brewery.
But we did do a beer tour.
We did do a beer
Prague.
tour. So we did have 4 days that I think is pretty close to what you would need.
Now the hotel that we stayed at, we were on, so there's the main side where the main old town and everything is at, and might be a place where everybody first flocks to find their hotel. We stayed on the other side of the river, still very much a touristy area, maybe not as much sought after. We love the other side of the river. Because as soon as you got over there, even though everything was really busy and stuff with tourists, it kind of just went down a little bit of a level.
Down a little bit, yeah. We were at the top of a hill too, so I think a lot of those tourists didn't they didn't want to go up the hill. So once we got to the top of the hill, it was pretty quiet.
It was really quiet, yeah.
That cost us $414. And again, that's a little steep for our budget.
It is. At least that one got back into our average of $100.
Yeah, at least we got close.
Now for groceries in Prague, we spent $22. Once again, that just really included a couple beers for in the room and our yogurts for in the morning.
Yeah,
so
we had a
basic.
mini fridge. So
had our little mini fridge, yeah. And then for entertainment, it was a total of $140. We did enjoy the beers in Czech Republic.
Yeah, if you haven't heard, Czech Republic has a lot of really good beer. So we indulged a little bit. Not too much.
Not too much.
But we did indulge in the beer scene. What can you say about Czech beer? It's really good. Our transportation costs while we were there, which includes the bus from Brno to Prague and any Ubers.
Yeah, really just the Uber to and from the bus station. It was quite a ways.
It was quite a ways. It was up that hill too, so we had to take an Uber. It was $58. So really not that bad.
No, thankfully we saved a little money on transportation costs there. Now we did have a little bit of miscellaneous costs when we were in Prague because like we mentioned, we decided to go onto the brewery tour. And so that, and then also we finally needed to do a load of laundry. At this point, it's been about 2 weeks in. We don't ever suggest going that long without washing your clothes. But this is one of the downsides of being in hotels all of the time and moving quickly. So that was a total of $53.
Yeah, don't do that. Just go ahead and get your laundry done when you can. The laundromat almost costs as much as the beer experience did.
Well, partly because so a load of laundry to wash and dry was $9.50. But that didn't include the beers that we had. Those are in our entertainment costs because we had to go get beer when we put the laundry in, and then when we put it back into dry, we had to go get another beer. Yeah, so it ended up being way more expensive.
You have to. It's a rule. So 4 nights in Prague again, busted our budget, but it was worth it. $687.
Now, we spent, like we said, we spent 4 nights in Prague. I would say that is the right amount of time.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, because it's a beautiful town to just kind of walk around and enjoy. So
that last day, if you get bored, just go out and do it again. You won't regret it.
Just go enjoy beers.
Just go enjoy beers. Okay, off to Germany. Our first stop was Nuremberg. We were in Nuremberg for 4 nights. And we spent $458 on that hotel.
Yeah. So in Nuremberg, we stayed in a place. Nuremberg was really nice.
It was cute.
Yeah, it was. It's definitely a more, I would say, lived-in feel. Sometimes we like that, sometimes we don't, because it can be a little more laid back and stuff, and maybe not as much to go see and do.
Right.
We did really enjoy our time there. Our place that we stayed at was a really great location. Remember, we walked across the street from the bus stop.
Yeah.
It was
we didn't need to get an Uber.
No.
Cut down transportation costs.
Yeah, that's
for
true.
Sure.
Now for groceries in Nuremberg, we spent $21. And then for entertainment, our eating out was $120. This was our first introduction to really having like authentic German food.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It was great. Yeah, we got the brats, we got the sauerkraut, the schnitzel.
Yeah.
Anything that you can think of that's German. We got it.
Yeah, the pretzels. We specifically stopped and found a place to eat dinner that was very traditional, and sometimes you can search that out and you get there and it's just kind of touristy traditional. Right. This was traditional and the food was fantastic.
The food was great.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that video, and you don't want to watch it, but you want to see that restaurant, go check it out because it's worth going to.
It is absolutely
It was a great
worth
place.
it. Yeah.
Transportation costs. From Prague to Nuremberg, we took a bus for 2 people. Again, it was pretty inexpensive. It was $54.
Right. And one thing I want to point out is that the train system is typically the way to go. It's great. But when we got here and I was doing, because I check all of it, I'm going to check whatever the best way to travel is going to be.
Right.
And it was honestly, most of the time, sometimes triple the price. And it was taking you longer to get where you're going, because it wasn't like you just went, I want to go from this location to this location and there's a direct shot there. A lot of time you had to like go to one other town and then back. Or
I was
whatever.
disappointed,
So,
I'll be honest.
he
I
likes
love
the trains. Yeah.
I love train travel. It's easy, you
It
got
is
room.
easy. You can get up and walk
You
around.
can get up and walk around. I really like train travel. So when Carrie kept saying, well, Brian, it's going to cost half the price to take the bus and we're going to get there in the same amount of time, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And we took the bus.
It worked
The buses were great, though.
The buses were great. We used Flixbus for the majority of our travels.
If there's a bathroom.
If the bathroom works. It's always a question mark. Okay, so our next thing, the one thing that we did do while we were in Nuremberg is there was a castle. The castle was pretty cool. We did pay $15 to go see that for both of us to get in.
Yeah. So Nuremberg for 4 nights, $668.
Yeah. So there's definitely a theme going on.
There's something about this fast travel that just isn't working for
It's
us.
cost a lot of
It's
money.
costing us money.
Yeah. So we spent 4 nights. Would we spend 4 nights again? No, we would not. You really could honestly do Nuremberg in 2 nights.
2, yeah.
I think
easy.
I think you need 1 full day there to explore. So however you figure out you get the full day there, that's how much time you need. So next we move on to Munich. We spent 5 nights there. Munich came highly recommended to us.
Yeah, anybody that's been to Munich that we know told us we were going to love Munich.
So Munich is not a cheap place to visit. Our hotel for those 5 nights was $687. We were somewhat central. We were about as central as you could get without really breaking the bank for us.
Really breaking the bank, yeah. So now we did have a small kitchenette in our hotel room, which was pretty handy. So we did have some grocery costs there. We spent $55 on our grocery needs, and that included a couple lunches.
Yeah,
I think
and
we did
eggs
a dinner.
and
Yeah, so that was great. Now our entertainment, so that brings our entertainment cost down a little bit. Our entertainment came to $110.
Now in the category of Munich, we did a day trip to Salzburg, and so in the costs of entertainment and such, and then also the next upcoming transportation, that will include anything that we spent going to Salzburg. Highly recommend getting to Salzburg. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it as a day trip because we really had to shove a lot into a day, and there was so much to see. It was an absolutely beautiful city.
It was a great city. It was a lot of fun.
So
it was
fun.
Carrie's highlight of probably the next 2 years, I think.
It was one of my favorite days. Yeah, so check out that video. It was so fun. So our transportation costs, so taking a bus from Nuremberg to Munich, and then getting to Salzburg, we also took a bus going there and back, and that was $125.
So our entertainment costs while we were in Munich, which includes going to Austria and the castle and everything that we did there, everything included. Now we could have done more.
Yeah.
We'll touch on that a little bit later. Came to $44.
So our total cost for Munich, this one
It kind of pisses me off a little bit.
was $1,021. It's just an expensive place to travel to. Once again, this is why we did the video that we did about slow versus fast travel. There are some of those areas that we just downright cannot afford to go stay for a month, but we do want to go enjoy and see them.
We don't regret any of it, but geez.
It's a lot of money.
So would we stay in Munich for 5 nighs? No, we wouldn't. Now, we could have done more while we were there. We could have even spent more money, but it rained. It was a little bit difficult for us to get to see everything that we wanted to see. But I would say that even with that being said, 3 nights, 3 days.
Yeah, I would say 3 nights. And honestly, it's, unless you're there for maybe Oktoberfest or some event that's going on.
Which wouldn't suck at all.
No. Although we did go into the beer hall and it was like insanely packed and so loud. God, we're getting old when we say that. And
She said it. I didn't say it.
we both said it while we're in
Nuh-uh.
there. But it is so loud. That would be a crazy time. It would be fun to experience though. But unless you have, say, an event or something going on, you really only need one full day to walk around the city. Yeah. Now, there were some things outside the city we didn't get to go do right. because of the time. Well, and mainly just because of the weather. So now we make our way to Italy. We are heading into Milan, and we spent 3 nights there.
Yes.
We, honestly, I kind of was, let's go to Milan, you know. I wasn't as excited about it, but Milan is very beautiful.
Yeah, I actually had to talk her into going to Milan. It was all my idea. We love Milan. It was a great city. Yeah. You know, could we have done more while we were there? Yes, but when you only have 3 nights, you want to make the most of Milan. Mm-hmm. Now, we did spend some money there as well.
We did. There were things to go see and do.
So for our accommodations in Milan, this is for 3 nights, which was about a block and a half from the city.
Nice and central.
Yeah, it was nice and central. What was the price again?
$456.
$456. These numbers, I got all these numbers in my head. So $456, which for 3 nights is steep.
It is steep, and once again, Milan, just like Munich, is just one of those expensive places to travel to. So you just kind of have to decide if you want to do it or not. So now our grocery costs while we were in Milan, because once again, we did have continental breakfast at this hotel. And so for the time we were there, we only paid $13 in groceries. And once again, that was really just a couple snacks and a few beers for the room. And then our entertainment bills, so our eating out. Now, when we have continental breakfast, because we're not those big of eaters, we tend not to eat as much throughout the day. Yeah. And so we only spent $60. But one thing that was kind of fun in Milan was that we got into a level of, there was a little bit more of street food maybe.
Yeah,
so we were able to go get a sandwich and kind of go get those smaller, simple things.
We didn't have to go to a restaurant.
Yeah, we weren't sitting down for a big heavy meal.
The transportation to Milan, we did a video, Munich to Milan, on the bus, plus some of the trams that we took to get to our hotel while we were in Milan, came to $53.
Yeah, and the tram system there was so easy to use because you the bus station where the Flixbus that we took came in to is a little bit out of town, not far, but boy, you just hopped right onto the tram, and then as soon as we came out the tram stop, we walked maybe half a block or
3 blocks, half a block.
I don't know. It wasn't very far. We love when it's not very far because we have all of our luggage. So I would say that thumbs up to the transportation system in Milan. It's very easy to use.
Very easy to use. That leaves us with our miscellaneous costs while we were there, and I think these things you have to do. Mm-hmm. You can't not do what we did in Milan, so you can't avoid it. And I think that it was worth the money. Mm-hmm. I honestly do. You know, when we do these excursions, we think, did we get value for our money? I think we really did. It cost $46 for our extracurricular activities while we were in Milan.
Yeah, and that is probably one of the bigger things that we see a difference in as far as those extra costs, which is usually kind of something we put into our entertainment budget. Right. What are the good things we went and to go see and do that month while we were traveling? When you're going to a place and you're only there 3 days, 4 days, and you want to see the cathedral, or you want to go to the castle, or you want to do all of that, those expenses really start to add up.
They add up.
Yeah.
And also, when you're moving that fast, you tend to miss things because you can't do it all. You don't have enough time. Right. So that's one of the things that, we covered that in the video last week anyway.
So our total cost for Milan was $628. Once again, that's a little painful to swallow, but we felt like we saw a lot in Milan. We did a lot. We didn't not do any of the things that the sites or anything like that. You know,
we could have gone up to Lake Como, I think they call it, and we decided not to. We were there for 3 days again, but from what we've done on our research, is it's expensive once you get there. Yeah. So we decided to cut that out.
We really got to a point we had to start to very much pick and choose the excursions and day trips we were doing because, as you can see, this is costing us a lot more than what we would ever spend in a normal month.
Yeah.
So we spent 3 days in Milan. I would say that you might be able to only spend 2 nights and get away with it, but 3 was comfortable.
If you're on vacation, I would spend 3 and take that excursion up to Lake Como.
Yes, definitely.
That's what I would do if I were you. If I were us, I would do it differently.
Yeah.
So our total costs for 27 days with everything we just talked about came to $4,000. Is that not right?
No, that's right.
Oh.
I'm like shaking my head because
Yeah.
of how high it is.
Yeah. $4,587.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that does not include some of our normal expenses that we put in a monthly
Yeah.
budget, which is our health insurance, our Surfshark VPN,
Yeah.
our
Netflix.
Netflix,
Yeah.
and some of our other.
Yeah, so that was, that's not even included. So that's a per person price of $2,293.50. This is easily well over double what we spend in a
Yes.
month's time.
Yes.
Or double, I would say.
It's
Yeah.
double what
So,
we normally spend.
Once again, we planned on it. It's kind of hard for us to swallow that sometimes because it is a lot of money, but we do feel like we saw so much territory during that time.
Yeah, it's about the experience, and we try and remind ourselves of that too. We are living, we're not vacationing, but we do want to see the sights.
Right.
We do want to see this part of the world. So that's why we're doing it. So no regrets. We're past it now. We're over it. So knowing what we know now, would we do this same trek again exactly the same way? We would not. We would definitely start in Poland. We would definitely go to KRAKOW. But we know there are places that we would like to spend more time in, and we know there are places where we wouldn't want to spend as much money at. So we would do it a little bit differently.
Yeah. So like I said, we would start in KRAKOW. We would stay the time that we mentioned we would there. Absolutely love that. But we would then cut off of the list BRNO and WROCLAW.
Right, and simply because we would want to spend more time in Vienna and in Salzburg.
Right.
It has nothing to do.
Actually stay in those towns.
Stay in
'cause
those
we
towns.
they were just day trips.
Now
to
that's
us.
something that we just couldn't afford to do.
They were expensive.
Yeah, they were expensive, so that's why we did it the way we did it.
We would for sure keep Prague on the list. Really enjoyed our time there.
Yeah, and as far as Munich goes and Nuremberg, I think what I would do was maybe take Nuremberg off the list and cut a couple days off of Munich. Now you could get on a day trip from Munich to Nuremberg if you wanted to, but I could easily take, out of those 8 days, I think we could narrow that down to maybe 4, 3 even.
And like I said, and add Salzburg to that, and
Right.
instead stay in Salzburg. Like I said, it was all cost reason for us, but if you're traveling at a different time of year and you can actually stay in Vienna, stay in Salzburg, we highly recommend doing
Right,
that.
exactly.
Now, Milan, we would for sure leave on the list. That was it was a great introduction for us into Italy, and it was just a beautiful city.
It's a beautiful city. It's a beautiful country. We're glad we're here. We have a lot coming your way.
Yeah, we've got 2 months in Italy to share with you. Now, this was a hard one for us, going and spending that kind of money. Like we said, we are now back into our budget traveling and back on that, just kind of narrowing it down a little bit and being a little more frugal, we'll call
We're
it.
back on track.
Yes. So, all right. Well, we hope that this video is helpful to you in your planning. And if you have any questions, be sure and leave them in the comments below. And we will catch you in the next video. Cheers.
Cheers.